Hey, so I'm actually up late on this one, which is why there's not a lot of video, but I wanted to talk about this really quick. Ran into someone who's got a kid about to turn 13 and is starting to have a kind of hard time with it, getting negative things going on, and tried to go back to sleep after I heard about that, and couldn't. So I wanted to put this out there really quick. I mean, this person's a teacher, right? I mean, I'll just do it in first person, right? So you're a teacher. You've had the developmental psych. You've had more developmental psych than I have. You, but knowing it doesn't make it any less real when you're going through dealing with kids growing up than getting health class in sixth grade prepared to do for adolescence in junior high. It's you can know all the theory in the world, but it still runs you over when it's still real when it hits home. So when we both know when kids get to adolescence, they start looking outside of the parents for role models and doing a lot of questioning of the beliefs, and it's kind of that quick to oversimplify it, you've got like the early adolescent stage where they look for way things and way exterior role models, and then kind of figuring out who they are, and then you've got kind of like the middle adolescence where and that involves a little bit of a breakaway from parenting, and then stays kind of neutral in middle adolescence when they're interacting predominantly with their peer groups and figuring out who they are relative to other people like them. And then late adolescence, we've got now they've kind of figured out who they are around, who they are. Then figuring out and reaching out to serious romantic relationships and going out into the world. That deparenting process. But the light at the end of the tunnel is that at the end of that 21, 22, that arc, this 10 years of chaos ends basically, and by 24 and 25, outside of their own families, their own people report their parents and their families are the most important things. And I can't even list the number of studies and youth work seminars and all that I've heard where they've pointed out that the number one most important thing is that in kids' lives is their parents. And it isn't to say that parents, if you're not perfect, that your kids are doomed and there's nothing you can do. Quite the opposite. One of the things you can do when you're not perfect is go to the cross, which is exactly where your kids need to go anyway. But knowing that there's this process is happening doesn't make it less painful or difficult while it's happening. Um, when I think about the studies, they find out about the kids whose faith survives college are the kids who saw their parents care enough to attend church on a regular basis and bring them. The kids who made it their priority. The kids whose parents made church their priority are the kids whose faith survives more often than not. Um, the kids who got to see a mother and a father, you know, got to see, a happy and healthy marriage. Their marriages are better, and that's the parents doing well too. The kids who pray with their, do Bible study and pray with their family, grow up and they do Bible study and they pray with their family. There's all, it's not to say that there aren't dangers out there, and it isn't to say that kids aren't going to make mistakes, because, dude, they're gonna. And it doesn't say that parents aren't going to make mistakes, because obviously we do, they do. But at the end of the day, as much as it can hurt to go from being the center of your preteens world, which is pretty, central to that phase in life where they start looking outside. Um, Please, take it with a grain of salt. You're the people who matter. Um, it isn't the college professor. Ultimately, it isn't the college professor or this friend or that friend or that role model or another who's the most influential thing in life. It's you guys, it's the parents. Keep going forward with God, keep your chin up, keep being, do the best you can, and walk humbly with God. As a monk, there's not a lot more I can say, right? I'm not in that boat. But it isn't fun necessarily to go through the process, but keep being faithful, keep going forward, keep hoping God's still in control. Um, and in particular, for the person whose kids starting to want to ask their own questions and do that apart from their parents. Well, that's natural. It isn't necessarily fun, and I understand. And but hang in there. Keep doing good jobs. And yeah, I just had a little word of encouragement. I know. While mentors were really important to me, like everybody else who goes through that phase of development, really my life's been defined by my parents, and that's you guys. So God's given you an amazing and noble thing, and just keep going forward. That's it. No big speech from me who talks endlessly, but I couldn't get back to sleep without saying it. So good night, everybody.